So, one of the most important questions that coaches have is how do I share this program if someone asks about it? And the answer may surprise you, but the best way to share this program is actually not to share it. You see, it's very easy when someone says to you, tell me about your program, tell me about your diet if they think it's a diet. It's very easy to say, well, Take Shape for Life is an optimal health program. And this is how it works. People eat 5-minute fast meals a day, lean and green, they lose weight quickly and safely, and all of that. Now, one can do that. And we call that verbal vomit, meaning we tell people a whole lot about the program, we tell them about the MetaFast meals. There's something far more powerful than communicating that information. Far more powerful than communicating that information is to begin by connecting with that other person. You're connecting as a human being with the human being who is in front of you, who now has your undivided attention, because most of all, your agenda is to get to know who they are. And that should be your only agenda, to get to know who they are. Be yourself and discover them. So how do you do that? Well, you can say, our program's great, it works, it's simple, it's easy. Do you mind if I ask you a few questions about yourself? Because I'd really like to get to know you a little better to see if you're a candidate for our program. And most people will say, well, of course. People love to share information about themselves. So you could say, what's your life like? I'm just interested in knowing what kind of choices you make in terms of activity, nutrition. Are you interested in being healthier? Are there things you'd like to do to improve your health? Do you have people who support you when you want to achieve a goal or create something new in your life? Are you under a lot of stress? What's your job like? Do you get enough sleep? Do you feel rested? Do you feel fulfilled? These questions are very powerful because, first of all, you're establishing a relationship with that person. You're creating a relationship where it's clear to them that you care enough about them to ask them about themselves. And then listen. And listen very carefully. Because when they answer your questions, you can then begin to paint a picture with them with more questions. You see, your questions can guide the conversation and the relationship to a place that not only allows you to connect with that person, but that can awaken their desire to create something in their life that heretofore they may not think is possible. For example, let's say they say, I'm under a lot of stress. And you may say, well, can I ask you what that's about? And they say, yeah, I don't get enough sleep. I have trouble sleeping. And you may say, well, what's that about? And they may say, well, I drink a lot of coffee, or I'm on a lot of medicines, or I'm worrying about certain things. And whatever aspect of their life that they talk about, most of the time, you can reflect back to them that there are other choices and things they can do, which we call our habits of health, that could help them. For example, well, have you thought about not having coffee after 12 noon or 1 p.m. in the afternoon? Because it has a long half-life and will tend to keep you up, and it may be harder to get to sleep. Or, I used to have that problem, and what I found was that if I didn't do computer work or watch TV a half hour to an hour before going to bed, it was actually a lot easier for me to fall asleep and get a good night's rest. Let's say they say, I want to be healthier. You can say, well, what would that look like to you? What do you mean by that? And they might say, well, I'd like to lose 30 pounds or 35 pounds. Now, instead of saying, oh, well, I can help you with that, we have a great program, it's called the 5-in-1, blah, 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 a better thing to do is to say, why do you want to lose the weight? And let's say the person says, I want to feel better, I want to look better. I want to be able to fit in a dress to go to my daughter's wedding in July or whatever. You can listen, and should listen, of course, to their answers to your questions and help them paint a picture by saying, for example, well, what would that look like to you to lose 35 pounds? How would that make you feel? How do you think people who love you would react to that? What are the things that would allow you to do? What are the things you would do having lost 35 pounds that you're not doing now? And maybe they'll say, well, I'd start to play tennis again, or I would take longer walks with my husband, or longer walks with my dog, or whatever. You see that nowhere in these questions and in this conversation have we even started to talk about our 5 in 1, or transition, or maintenance, or in fact our habits of health as such. We're simply getting to know this person and what their life is like, and who they are, and what matters or doesn't matter to them, discovering their choices, their barriers, their struggles. And that doesn't mean all of them, because there are probably things they're not going to want to share with you because they just feel they're none of your business. But there are many things that people are very comfortable sharing when they know the person they're talking to cares enough to ask. And when it's a genuine, relaxed conversation, simply getting to know someone. And you can share information about yourself. You could say, I used to have trouble sleeping too. I was very overweight, I lost weight, and it's so much easier now for me to sleep. And I have so much more energy, it's really great. In the context of the conversation where you are really connecting with a human being. You see, it's very easy to communicate. It's very easy to do what we call verbal vomit. Talk to people about our program, about the Medifast meals, about how it works, and all of that. And there's nothing wrong with sharing that. The question is, when do we share that? The best time to share that is not in response to the initial question, tell me about your program. The best time to share that is when you can say to someone who has established with you through your questions that they want to improve their health, that they'd like to sleep better, they'd like to be under less stress, that they would like to lose weight and improve their health, whatever aspect of health they're talking about, where you can say, I used to be in a similar situation and my life is very different now. I've really created health for myself and that's been wonderful and I've been able to help so many other people. Are you interested in that? Would you like to work with me? Because I'd be happy to help you lose the 35 pounds if you want to. And then it's easy to talk about the program. Now, when you arrive at that point, and you'll know when that is, my best advice is to make it simple. Don't go into a lot of detail. And the great thing about the questions you've asked is you can say to someone, you know what, I think you'd be a great candidate for our program. Now imagine if you started sharing the program in detail and you said, and we prefer that people not exercise for the first 2 to 3 weeks. Let's say the person you're talking to loves to exercise and you discover that when you're asking them about themselves. They love to exercise and you've told them at the beginning that we'd rather people not exercise the first 2 to 3 weeks. Well, immediately they're going to be thinking, I don't want to do this. This is not for me. I can't exercise. Now that you know they love to exercise, you can say, I know you love to exercise, and you can certainly do that on the program. We can tweak the program so exercising can continue and you'll continue to lose weight quickly and safely. We often find it's a bit easier if people cut their exercise in half or reduce it somewhat. Would you be open to that? So you can now have that conversation with them because you already know how they feel about exercise. So when we are really trying to find out if someone is a candidate for our program, in truth, the only way we can do that is not simply by sharing the program immediately, but finding out about them. And you may find out that they're not a candidate for the program, which is fine. You may find out that they have no interest in changing their life and being healthy. So what are the principles here to understand? That we can really only share our program with someone who truly wants to know about our program, meaning when we have established and created a connection with that human being, asking them about themselves, finding out who they are, and painting a picture with them of the things that they're interested in. And that's called awakening their intrinsic motivation. Whether it's to have less stress, more sleep, less anxiety, greater health, be more active, feel more attractive. Your conversation with that person allows you to get to know them in a very profound way. And once you connect with them in that way, sharing the program itself is natural and easy. And best of all, you will know then and there that that person is truly interested in the program. So the best way to share our program is to take the time to connect with another human being, be yourself, get to know them, get to know who they are. And once you have connected with them, which is far more than communication, you will be in a wonderful position to in fact share our program and work with them creating health. Thank you.